Hey y'all, I'm Karen Mayer Cunningham, the special education boss. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated at the 504 IEP table, you are in the right place. Every week, I'm breaking down the rules, the rights, and the realities of special education so you can walk into meetings informed, empowered, and ready to make real change. And whether you're a parent, a teacher, an advocate, a school-based member, or somebody who's just trying to do right by a student, this podcast gives you straight talk, real answers, and tools that you can use immediately. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to play sides. I'm here to train people who sit at the table and teach you how to follow the law, ask the right questions, and protect the rights of students. So go ahead and hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change. We're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. Guys, welcome back. It is our Ask the Advocate, where you guys can ask a formal professional special education advocate all of your questions, comments, and concerns that you would want to ask the committee, school-based members, parents, surrogate parents, evaluators, admin. Just jump in. The water is warm. If we haven't met him, Karen Mayer Cunningham, special education boss, training everyone that sits at the 504 IEP table to navigate and negotiate successful student outcomes. And so we are in the month of April Fools, headed into the month of mayhem, knowing that we are all going to be lovely and follow the school district norms. Are you guys sick of the norms? I am so sick of being read the school district norms. We will talk to each other kindly. Nobody will attack each other. If you raise your voice, we'll throw you out of the meeting. Like, where in the business world does that happen somewhere else? Don't say things that make people want to attack you, and you wouldn't have to read those norms. But I let that go. I digress. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's hear your questions. How can we help you? How can we serve you at the highest level? Well, first. Cindy, have you had a chance? We are 7 days into our podcast. What a crazy response. We already have over 500 downloads. It's been exciting, and we already got a message from somebody. We found your podcast. So, any opportunity that we can to reach you guys and to share and serve you, we are so excited. We'll be putting up at least 2 podcasts a week so that you are equipped to be the most amazing special education advocate as we serve kids with exceptionalities.
Boss, so many people need the dates for the next live.
The next 2-day live, and you got to get there, you guys. This is filling up so that it's June 7th and 8th. And then July 19th and 20th, those are Saturday, Sundays, full training, live in person. It's just right outside of Orlando, Florida. So you can see Mickey Mouse, you can jump in the water, and you can be trained. And then, because a lot of you are going to stop your job as educators. I'm just going to say it. A lot of you are not going to be educators anymore. And so, my heart is to equip you. If you can still work in your district and serve kids at the highest level, let's do that. But if you feel that maybe you can be more effectual advocating from the outside in, we would be honored to train you guys.
So here's our question. Can a child stay in general education even if they cannot access the grade level curriculum, but they are making progress on some goals?
Yeah, so obviously we know children in special education, obviously there's something that they're not accessing grade level expectations, whether that's communicative, function, behavior, socialization, academics. So we are obligated to have a strong conversation about LRE, the least restrictive environment. And then we look at the IEP goals and find the best place to implement them. So absolutely, that's always a consideration.
Does the school provide an advocate if the parent asks for one, or does the family have to provide an advocate?
So there are some agencies and entities in some states, like I'll be training at the state conference in Wyoming this year. I think August 2nd, I'll be with You Fine People in Casper, Wyoming. If you're near Wyoming and, just hop on over on your horse and come see us. We cannot wait to see you guys again. You're the kindest people. Then what was the question? I just really missed the question.
It is, does the school provide an advocate at the parent requests?
It's a school provide an advocate at the parent request. So there are some agencies that provide that to some people. So this summer I'll be training again for the PIC for the state conference for Wyoming, August 2nd. And they're an agency that serves families, and they're very nice people. They're the nicest people. But an advocate, for me, is somebody that does this full time for a living. They can negotiate the federal law. state statutes, the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and can file on your behalf. And so I think that there is some general help in some states, but it's my experience that when you need to get a child a robust IEP that enables them to make progress in light of their unique circumstances for the lifetime that they're in special education, you want to try to invest in a special education advocate, even if they just help you prep for those meetings.
Can an exchange program teacher teach in an ESE classroom for a full day in Florida?
Well, if we don't lie, if the attorneys for the school district don't lie, we had that situation in another state, and the teacher was honest enough. She was from the Philippines, lovely lady, but she was not a special educator. She indicated that in the meeting. She indicated that she'd never applied to be a special educator. And lo and behold, when we filed the state complaint, the district's attorney, I won't tell you what district it was, but it rhymes with ugh. The district attorney lied and wrote a fraudulent resume. It is amazing to me the lengths that school district attorneys, not all of them, but the bad ones, will go to cover up their lie instead of correcting it and serving kids at the highest level.
It certainly would require less bandwidth in your brain.
Yeah, and then that would cut down on our press conferences.
But you do look great in a ditch.
I look good in a ditch with pantyhose. Yeah.
Yes. Do you ever discuss about adult disabled services?
I don't. Certainly one of the things that we're always doing with our clients is we're getting them connected as quickly as possible to adult services. We start that from the time that we get a kiddo. So there are state agencies, there's state workforce commissions. Certainly we would direct them to that once they have aged out of the special education programs.
Does the school have to do an evaluation to go from an IEP to a 504?
If you're my client, you do. You got in special education with an evaluation. And so that we're sure we're not making a misstep, I would want an evaluation to find that student DNQ'd, does not qualify.
Boss, do you have any resources to help a nonverbal Down syndrome toddler, or where would they go to find help?
Yeah, so depending on how old the toddler is, if they're 18 months to 3 years, I'd reach out to ECI, Early Childhood Intervention. If they're 3 to 5, certainly get an evaluation for them to be in ECSE, Early Childhood Special Education.
Fantastic.
Thank you for all the gifts. Be free, be 8. That's fantastic.
Here we go. Number one gifter. Let's see. What would be goals for a what goals would you have for a Charlie who's newly diagnosed with dyslexia?
A Charlie? It sounds like you might have dyslexia. Well, in America we call them child, but Cindy is from Florida, so she added another L. So it depends on the acuity of the disability. So a disability category doesn't give me any information to know about how that shows up in a child. So as my friends here, the great Cindy and the even greater Elena, the MLS, they are reading specialists. And so when they serve kids and when they're teaching them or tutoring them, they don't just say, oh, you have a disability in reading fluency. They need more information. So when that student met eligibility for dyslexia, if you will go back to that section, there should be a summary in the FIE, the full individualized evaluation, that gives you recommendations, and I would build from there.
Do you know if a child with an IEP can apply for SSI?
Anybody can apply for SSI at a certain age, but the IEP doesn't guarantee that you would receive SSI benefits or funds.
Can a special education student be held back if the parent thinks it's best?
Retention is a decision from the principal. So we should be making decisions based upon what's appropriate for the child. I had a client recently tell me that she wanted her 4th grader retained. And I said, I can't be on board with that because the student is already in special education. We don't have any data that says, she's been in that graduating class now for 5 years, right? Kindergarten through 4th grade. And to pull her from her graduating peers, we don't have data that supports that's going to make up for the gap. Certainly if a child is a kindergartner and you believe they have not met the state expectations, then I certainly would encourage the family to consider retention solely at kindergarten.
for my son that is struggling to go use the restroom, or at least get him reminders?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a parent for that. Anybody can do that. Anybody can put him on a toileting schedule, a timer schedule. That can be done by the general ed staff.
A parent was screaming at me today because I called her daughter by her last name. Is there anything illegal about that?
Well, we all have off days. I apologize on behalf of that parent. I mean, I certainly would extend her grace. I know that I've had some days in my life that I was not at my best, but you get to do that once, right? So you don't get to verbally assault me. So I would ask for her not to continue that behavior. And then depending on that response, I might have other next steps.
When is the right time to ask about ESY? In our previous meeting, my son qualified, but when do we talk about it?
So you talk about ESY at the annual IEP meeting. If it's a very long ways from the end of the year, then you would revisit it in the last few months of the year. ESY has 2 criteria. Number 1, documented regression on IEP goals with a profound amount of time to recoup those skills, or concern for loss of critical skills. We've acquired a skill during the year, and we believe that break, that 9, 10, 11, 12-week break, would really impact that student.
California schools are refusing to give me evaluation results unless I enroll my daughter in their school. Is that legal?
No, special education testing has nothing to do with whether or not you're enrolled in that campus. It just means that that's the campus that you're zoned to, that you live in the district. So I would just say, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
If a parent has requested testing to a teacher and a counselor, but nothing has been done, what else can I do?
The only request that matters is the request that's in writing. So stop asking people verbally and start putting it in writing. Writing triggers a legal timeline. So here's what your email would say. Dear staff, this is my formal request for my daughter, Cindy Luhu, to have special education testing. Areas of concern are learning, attention, and communication. We look forward to your response, and we look forward to coming in and signing notice and consent. Stop talking to people. Put it in writing.
Truth.
How many people did you talk to, Cindy, over the years, and you thought they heard you, they were hurting, but they weren't listening, and that hurting was hurting.
Amen.
It's caused Cindy to have her own morning talk show called Under the Lamp. Yeah, so she's gonna have her own podcast. Yeah.
I am transferring my kid to another school since I don't see progress in her learning. Do you think that's okay?
So if it's the same school district, you're probably gonna have the same problem. Location doesn't make special ed better. Special ed educators that care and implement the IEP with fidelity make it better. So first, I would try to resolve the problem where you are. If it's a school campus problem, it's probably a district problem. And definitely I would reach out to get an advocate and get their recommendations and next steps on a records review. You can always get an advocate from one of our team members by emailing advocate@specialeducationacademy.com.
What are your thoughts on intern positions for education specialists with a background in SPED?
I don't have any thoughts. I mean, that sounds good. You can be the most credentialed person and you shouldn't be around children. And you can be somebody that is, the substitute bus driver and be the most wonderful person to kids with disabilities.
Can my IEP team approve my child to go to a resource room even if I disagree?
So if you disagree with the LEA, the local education agency's recommendation, twice, the state is going to defer to the LEA as the educational expert.
What happens if a Spanish-speaking student has a Spanish life skills placement but is put into English life skills?
Never heard in my whole lifetime of a thing called Spanish life skills. What the Hello Kitty are you talking about? What? Wait, what? Mm-mm. 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 Find out from that lovely person what silly district, city, county she's in, or he's in.
Oh, okay, scam, SCAM, we need to know.
We need to know. Donde vas usted viver? See how I did that?
That was fantastic.
I don't know what that means, but it sounded good, didn't it?
Absolutely. Olay. What happens? Oh, wait, excuse me. Can I get a para for my child that refuses to use the restroom? School is almost over and he is still holding it in. What do I do?
Well, a para is not going to make your child not hold it in. So, yeah, I would never ask for a para for that.
Okay. Should the evaluation team decide or tell the family the placement decision?
Well, that would be ridiculous and illegal and problematic and unethical, because nobody makes a decision about placement until the IEP team has convened with at minimum all 5 stakeholders, of which the parent is 50%. So I don't want you to go to IEP jail. So let's not do that. Oh, and we have a gifter goal. We have 14 minutes and 26 seconds to meet it. No pressure. No pressure. We would never pressure you. I mean, Cindy would. I wouldn't. But, definitely, But she's...
I love these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Yami needs to know, did you answer the question about ESY?
Did I answer the question about ESY?
Yes, she missed the answer for when do you ask for ESY.
So you're required to talk about ESY at your annual IEP meeting. And if that's a very long ways from the end of the year, let's say that your annual IEP meeting was in October, then we will revisit that after spring break and see if there's an educational need for ESY. The 2 criteria are, number 1, documented IEP regression with a profound amount of time to recoup that skill, or number 2, concern for loss of critical skills.
Question: why can't ABA be inside of an educational setting?
Because it's not. Here's the real question. Why don't we have salons at school? I mean, why don't we have salons? I feel like a good blowout would help everybody relax, don't you? There are a million therapies that are great. We don't have swim therapy in school. We don't have yoga therapy in school. We don't have hot rock therapy. And those have all been found to be beneficial for lots of people to reduce their emotions and anxieties. It's just not what happens in public school. Public school has its limits, and there's probably 50 therapies that we could tell you are beneficial for children, but they're not in public schools. And remember, whatever we put in one public school would have to be a federal requirement, so it would have to be in all, however many states we have. What do we have, like 75 states now? I don't know. I don't dare say a number because somebody's like, you forgot Puerto Rico. So...
I have my child's IEP this month. They are suggesting no more AS or speech. What are your thoughts?
What's AS? No more as? You can take your as and get on out of here. Is that what they said? So, I mean, all recommendations are a conversation before the committee. So, you have to be committed to your position, which is why all of you should join Special Education Academy. We teach you to be committed to your position legally and based on data. We had a child today that started provision of special education and related services, and he is a baby. He's in 2nd grade. You know what they had? Oral admin for everything. Everything. You know what I said? This ain't that. We are not doing that. We're not starting a 2nd grader, and you're going to read everything to him. And she said, that helps with his grades. I said, that would help with my grades. But nobody's going to read to him when he's 25. Let's teach him to read. And when we're doing this, we can really see soberly the acuity of his disability. You guys, we're at 50% of our goal. No pressure. Dun, 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 dun.
How does manifestation work?
I think that you might have to ask your yoga instructor. You mean, how does manifestation, determination, resolution work?
Yes.
Yeah, I think manifestation is something we don't teach here. But a manifestation, determination, resolution meeting is your child has had an action that's required a consideration of discipline And we have to come together as a committee and look at the students' data, their unique circumstances, their eligibilities, their medical profile, their pathology, their patterns, and their history, and see if we believe as a committee, one, was this action directly and related causation of their disability, and or two, failure of the district to not implement the IEP. Let me just tell you, I just had a meeting and it was both. And the executive director was like, well, no. It's not because the district failed to implement the IEP. I said, you're wrong. I said, at the last meeting you didn't come to, the district confirmed they didn't implement the IEP. And she was the director. She goes, is that true what Ms. Cunningham said? Did you say at the last meeting you didn't implement his IEP? Yep. And she goes, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then I stuck my tongue out. Now my teeth were closed, but sometimes I do that. Nobody knows I'm sticking my tongue out, but I know.
We did have several people ask how they can send or participate in the challenge. So I just wanted to tell them that at the bottom of the bar, you'll see like a picture of a present or a picture of a rose. And if you push on that, that's how you participate.
What she said.
Okay.
I don't know.
She doesn't.
Cindy said that kind of happily. She doesn't. Yeah. She knows. They're gonna know. No, Karen actually isn't gonna know.
She knows a lot about a lot.
A lot. I do. And there's more that I don't know that I don't care to know.
It's okay. You're helping millions of kids with what you do know.
Well, thank you.
I'm concerned about my teacher's behavior towards some students. I'm the para, and in the inclusion room, what do you suggest?
If you think it rises to the level of harming a child, I would call Child Protective Services in a heartbeat. And I don't care what anybody says to that. If somebody is harming a child that is actually employed to help a child, I would immediately call Child Protective Services.
Fantastic. So, even if a child has a qualified disability, he only qualifies for an IEP if he's behind. Can you explain?
So it's not if he's behind. It's if something in his profile is out of the normed and average range, right? So behind is, is somebody's opinion, right? So we do full robust testing in all 8 areas to see if he has an eligibility category. And then based upon that eligibility category and the characteristics, we would write an IEP. So just because you have a disability doesn't mean you need additional services at school.
I have a physician's note for my child with examples for a 504, and the district told me no. Is this legal? I'm in Michigan.
So you have a physician's note for examples? I'm not really sure what that means, but the physician's note should say that you have an identified disability. So if you have a disability, then we're charged with doing a 504 evaluation to see if your student rises to the level of needing additional accommodations during the school day.
Is an MDR required after every suspension when the first MDR showed behavior due to the disability?
No, but as soon as there's a behavior that's concerning for me, for one of my clients, I'm certainly asking for the district to have an MDR because I don't want it to get up to 9 more times and somebody gets hurt or we do something that we can't take back. So certainly I'm going to ask for an MDR early.
Okay. Got to get through all these gifter badges. Oh my goodness, it's so fantastic. I love it. Okay. Can you explain how manifestation works when the when the school wants a 1-day suspension for my child?
So a student can be out of placement for up to 9 days. At the 10th day, we're required to have the MDR. So if it's the first day, the school does not have to do that. It's unfortunate, but.
Okay. Well, that was one I never saw before. It was a pair of hands with a heart that came up right underneath you.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What should I, SPED, do when other members of the team fail to uphold the BIP and blame the student?
I would do what's ethical. I can sleep at night knowing that I've done what's ethical.
Okay, let's see. My son has had bad luck with schools being suspended and behavior report a mile long. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if we have behaviors that are a mile long, we need to get to the table and adjust something. Adjust his setting, adjust his education, adjust the demands, adjust the expectations, and certainly do a new FBA.
What should I do? What can I do if my child is having behaviors on the bus?
Address them. Yeah, so is your student on a general ed bus? Are they on a special ed bus? What predicates it? Is it student bound? Is it just being on the bus? Is it interchange between him and another student that do not work well together? You have to get down to the specifics of it.
And that was from Shiny Oro number 7, just in case it comes through. My child has an IEP. Can he go into a charter school and get transportation?
So I will never recommend that a parent with a child with a disability go to a charter school. Ever. I never will. There's not a better setting than public school when we get it right. And we don't always get it right, but we mostly get it right. Charter schools, although they are public schools, are schools of choice. And as somebody that's worked in this space for almost 3 decades, they really don't abide by the laws for IDEA, 504. I think I had a child one time that made it an hour and a half, and the principal was like, come and pick her up. So we are short enough on special ed hands in public schools. They're almost non-existent in public schools. So tell me in the chat, you guys, how many of you guys recommend sped kids go to charter schools? You guys tell each other. How many? Is charter school amazing for kids with disabilities? Everybody say it with me. Everybody. Nope, nope, nope. Somebody said nope, never, no. Nope, 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 never, never, no. And all the people said amen. Never, 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 nunca, 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 nada. No, 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 no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I think that might be a no.
It's gonna, oh, somebody just said just absolutely not ever, period. Oh, well, there you go.
Crystal clear like Windex, just
Yes.
like you. I have a kindergartner who scored average in all the areas other than executive functioning and has aggression. Can they have an IEP?
Well, aggression is not average. So there's nothing average about aggression, no matter, especially for a 5-year-old. So it sounds like we need to do a full psychological evaluation to see if they meet eligibility for ED, AU, or ADHD, any of the combined types. Yeah. Oh, somebody just said, Miss Wise just said, that's a good last name, Miss Wise. I should add that on to all my husband names. Karen Mayer Cunningham Wise. She said, our charter school in our town doesn't even hire sped teachers. That's right.
How would someone submit a question if it exceeds the character limits?
So you have a character problem? But I'm sorry, I'll be here all night. So just email us at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com.
Fantastic.
Oh, and did we talk about the podcast? Are you guys all following me on the podcast? Have you downloaded the podcast? Because we have other special stuff there that doesn't come on here that you're going to want to listen to. So Special Education Boss, in the palm of your hand. So no matter where we are, we can still be together. Isn't that right, Cindy? You could just be sitting in your classroom acting like you're doing professional development, and really, you would be.
100 million %.
100 million %. That's a very high percentage.
It is. And that's why I taught phonics. What accommodations do you recommend for auditory processing disorder?
So auditory processing disorder, which is different than a deficit in auditory processing in your cognitive profile, will come with a hearing chart, and it will show you where there is better reception on which side of the student. You certainly can have the student sit behind a carousel for testing, but it's hard for those students to discriminate sounds in the air, which is all there is in public school and public life. So really read that evaluation from the ENT and look at those with fidelity and see what you can put into the IEP.
What are your thoughts thoughts on the ACES, ACES program?
Zero thoughts. I have thoughts, but I can't say them here. Programs are as good as the people that use them.
Can a middle schooler have spelling goals?
It would be silly. I have spelling goals. I believe that potato has an E. And I think y'all have spelled it wrong for all these years. And so I live in League City, Texas. I spell it wrong every time I type it out. It's like, can I buy a vowel? Why isn't it just Leege? League. Wouldn't that make sense, Cindy?
It certainly would.
Yeah.
And I tell all the kiddos, just to confuse you.
Yeah.
Can a residential school force related services to see students after school instead of school hours?
I don't know. So the educational day is delivered during the educational day. If there's not an opportunity for out-of-district placement, whether it's a day school, a psychiatric unit, a medical facility, if there's not a good time that could occur during the instructional day, then I understand that. I have kids that are at out-of-district placement. They are at psychiatric units, and the primacy of them getting well and calibrated and emotionally stable is more important than them having occupational therapy or speech therapy.
I just realized that this is not the weekly training that you do. What is the weekly training that you do?
So all the good-looking smart people, which is all of you fine people, join Special Education Academy. So it's a monthly prescription. It's a prescription. It's a Karen Mayer Cunningham is a subscription. It's $97 a month. We have an hour of training every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. And we train in series. So right now we are in an amazing series. And you can start it or stop it at any time. There's no contractual obligation. But we have almost 400 hours of trainings archived that you'll have access to as well in the dashboard. So that whatever you're going through in your life with your kiddo, you can find answers there immediately.
Is there a document for kids with immune deficiency with blanket absent coverage?
No, there's nothing that gives kids blanket absence coverages. However, if your child has that many absences, and I was your advocate, I would really consider homebound so that they could be healthy.
Fantastic. If a child has a grade by participation, what should be the highest that they can make?
Well, I wouldn't allow that. So grade by participation, talk about discriminatory. Cindy thinks all children are amazing. And just if they showed up, she would squeal with laughter and give them all 100. I'm more like, sit down, do your work. So participation, talk about, how do you measure that? Is it because you had a good attitude? It's, I see so many things in paperwork that are discriminatory. Like today I was reading an IEP present levels, and I think this little girl is suffering with depression. And it said when she's in a good mood and wants to get to work, she does fine. Oh, so we already say so much stuff about kids with biases. I wouldn't want to add that to it.
Can homework adjustment be included on an IEP?
Yeah, I always say you can take your homework and go to your home and do it. Yeah. We are supposed to teach children during the instructional day. There's no data anywhere. No data that says homework increases instructional learning. We all had homework. We all went through 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade for history and science. I don't know what osmosis is, and I don't know if we won the Alamo. So I think we give kids so much stinking information which has nothing to do with their life. I think teachers that do a good job deliver the education. Is there stuff that you want to do for a little bit at home to reinforce it? Yes. But having a minor who has a disability go home after the instructional day and ask you to pull more when they already have a deficit in the way that they learn is not right. So I will put in the accommodations homework attempted. And so Cindy will sit down with her cherub and say, Tabitha, let's do your homework. And Tabitha is emotional not having it. And Cindy will put a post-it note on there and say, homework attempted. Bloop. And then you have that. Bloop. And then that's the end of it.
Can the high school make a parent go on a field trip with their ASD high functioning student?
Absolutely NOT. Do you go on an ASD FIELD See how I did that? I don't know if I spelled field right, but is field FEELD? Field?
It's close.
It's very close.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody asked, what were the dates of the 2-day live in Florida?
June 7th and 9th or July 19th and 20th. Get there or be square.
And they are 2 separate sessions. They're not a to be continued, somebody asked. Although, wouldn't that be great to spend 4 days with the boss?
They are, yeah. Where in Florida? It is in Melbourne. Not Australia, Florida.
Yeah.
That's next year. That'll be next
Really
year.
close to those rockets. What can I do if my fellow staff members... Oh, I'm sorry, that was asked again. Let's see. I apologize.
Oh, somebody says it's just north of them. That is fantastic.
Well, we'd love to see you. Let's see. Florida, how often should they check my math deficits? They are asking to do just a quarterly check.
That's plenty.
Okay.
In Florida. We love them in Florida. They are a smorgasbord of meetings. You really have no idea what you're getting in those Florida meetings. But it won't be forgettable, will it?
Certainly not.
Certainly not.
Let's see. Because of staffing, we are unable to meet the majority of the IEP ratios. Can and should we inform the parents?
Ethically, you should inform them. Ethically, the principal should inform them. Absolutely.
Is it okay that they trialed a classroom FM system without telling me and just said it helped?
Well, you only get an FM system if you have an identified deaf and hard of hearing eligibility or you're deaf blind. We don't just give out FM systems to people. So I would be wondering about how that came to be.
Let's see. How can a state mandate students on an IEP that they are reading at a second grade level?
I don't know what goofy state mandates that. What do you do with kids that are nonverbal? Do you just like return them back to their house? Like what? The longer I do this, the more that I find some educated people have not used their funds well.
Truth. What are your... Oh, no. Do I need a certificate to be an advocate? How do I become an advocate?
No, we will just tell you that you are bona fide, glorified, and electrified. We're just all fide. A parent's always going to be able to bring anybody with them, and we call them advocates. Oh, thanks you guys for all the nice words. I really, really appreciate it. We want you guys to be equipped so you can serve kids at the highest level. Somebody asked me, what would I do if a child is hurting my child? I would call Child Protective Services. If the entity that you're sending your child to, church, a daycare, a school, is not keeping your child safe, then I would call Child Protective Services.
Are the people certified in doing a sensory profile on an IEP team, typically for OT goals?
Are they certified?
Yes.
Yes, all states require some sort of certification to be an occupational therapist for school-based instruction. Even Florida. Did I say that? Yeah. I love Florida. I mean, I love, like, my heart. I want to move to Florida. I would like for y'all to turn down the humidity, but I would like to. You can just turn it down just a little bit.
And it just started like this week. Ugh. How can I prove my child is not getting her services?
I would ask the service providers, when they take data weekly, what does that look like? Get to a meeting and get good questions answered.
So was it a yes for spelling goals for middle school? Sorry,
No, we're not teaching spelling in middle school. But I might certainly have that child have an assistive technology and written expression evaluation so that we can teach them assistive technology supports to mitigate that spelling deficit.
Ooh, I love when you answer this one. Why does a public school use developmental delay on an IEP instead of the actual diagnosis of autism?
I don't know. You would have to ask your federal government, because the federal government allows states to do that, and there's only 6 states that still do that. It is goofy.
And our final question, what if parents feel misled in a placement, but the school won't accept the parent's rejection of placement? What is next?
So, first of all, it's not a rejection of placement. It's not that I reject it. Like, I reject broccoli, right? You have to present to the committee your data. Every one of you should have data. So, not just, I don't want them to be in a room with Elena. I believe that the data wholly and completely supports a different setting for this child. So once you've presented that and the district still disagrees, then you exercise your procedural rights to file. I would do that. So thanks, you guys, for everything. We'll see you at 8 p.m. in Special Education Academy. If you haven't already signed up, go to specialeducationacademy.com and get your life changed. Oh, Miss, so good to see the purple princess who just had her her wedding anniversary. So we love Rachel. But you guys need to get trained. Listen to me. Are you listening? You're not going to learn what I've learned in 28 years by sitting through a couple of meetings. And the children that you serve cannot afford for you to learn as you go. Your children who are in special ed cannot afford for you to learn as you go. You cannot afford to think that school-based members who are lovely humans know about the depth and breadth of federal law, state requirements, obligations, duties, and responsibilities. If you don't get yourself trained, you are going to be failing your children and these kids. Do you work in Alabama? We work in every state of the United States, and then we work across the pond, below the pond, to the left of the pond. We serve kids all over this globe that have an IEP. So we love you. Thank you for all your kind words. Hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change, we're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody.